So I wrote a poem last night about a very controversial issue that I don't think is spoken of as much as it should be spoken of. It's about rape, and the name of the poem is called The Silent Cry. She's a grown woman with issues she can't describe when new relations arise. The men who meet her are drawn to her intellect, drawn to the way she walks and the way she talks. But their affectionate eyes torture her, and she makes up lies. She brainwashes herself into believing that their attention lies behind false ties. See, maybe we just need to understand the birth of this pain before it can ever die. Nora was only 6. No, maybe she was 5, and her mother worked at night and had her sister keep an eye. Nora would plead and beg her mother to do otherwise, but she couldn't find the words to describe her consistent cries. Nora was only 6. No, maybe she was 5. Her auntie was married to an abusive, drunken guy who thought every night deserved a few broken mirrors, some screaming, and a black eye. Nora was only 6. No, she was definitely 5. Nora was 5 the summer of 1989, the summer that not only changed her life, but ultimately made her question the why. Why did a 5-year-old have to bury herself under covers on a hot, humid night? Why did she have to lock her legs in positions that not only secured her childhood, but made it almost impossible for someone to just give it a try? Nora was 5 and feared the loss of her virginity, something she could not verbally even describe. The yelling from the other room was always horrid, and the fears of her uncle stopping by, she knew she'd never have the courage to report it. Sleepless nights consisted of her watchful eye on that yellow doorknob, the knob that determined whether her childhood would be hers or for him to unwelcomely rob, until one night she felt comfortable enough to let her sleep throb and take over. She was shooken by the feeling of someone's stalking eye and stocky shoulders, and felt all her fears come to light the moment she saw him sitting drinking a beer along her side. As she clenched the covers over her chest, his smirk and disgusted breath were the beginning of Nora's childhood's death. Nora was only 5 the summer of 1989, but knew that he could not get inside if only she kicked and pushed, if only she could react and such, and it needed to be quick. It was a timeless act, an act of rush. Nora knew you couldn't string in a moving needle hole. Nora knew you couldn't glide inside a moving restless soul. Nora knew it couldn't be done if she didn't give up and fought the clutch. Nora thought she knew. But Nora was only 5. Her body grew weary, her eyes remained teary, and she realized that all of those were false theories. Her restless kicks and swinging thighs were no match to this man's size. His hands alone could hold Nora's both arms and stop her defensive knives and make her body just compromise. Nora was only 5, and before she knew it, her childhood died. As he selfishly thrusted himself into her life, Nora felt her memories be pounded, her laughter ripped apart and surrounded with a painful stiff knife, and self being abandoned. Let me reread that part. Nora was only 5, and before she knew it, her childhood died. As he selfishly thrusted herself into her life, Nora felt her memories be pounded, her laughter ripped apart and surrounded with a painful stiff knife, and self being abandoned. It was the summer of 1989, the summer Nora never returned and instead just burned. The root of her pain, fear, and concern, the reason she can never love and will forever yearn, the reason Nora can never smile again and she stays so stern, the reason why Nora never smiles and stays so stern. It was the summer of 1989, the death of her childhood, the reason her trust will never be earned. His selfish acts and ruthless whacks to her self-respect not only destroyed her, but led her to believe it was her lesson learned, that it was her fault for allowing a man to enter her innocent body. And never once thought it was okay to just breathe and realize that not every day is so cloudy and not every man is so rowdy. That it wasn't her fault that he decided to ruin her emotionally, spiritually, and physically for every other man who will ever again try to join bodies. That it's okay to smile and believe in others, that it's okay to be sexually involved when older, because it wasn't her fault. Her mind is determined that she is dirty, that her past is her present and will forever be embodied. And I wish I could just hug her and tell her it's okay. She did all she could, but there's only so much our selfless bodies can take. That it's okay and that he'll repay, and that I promise her one day she'll be able to lay and not have that memory replay. Nora was only 5 the summer of 1989, the summer that her body was Nora was only 5 the summer of 1989, the summer that her body was disobeyed. But Nora was 5, and since has seen many passing days. Nora was 5 the summer of 1989, and Nora needs to realize that she can't take this pain to the grave. That she's not alone. That there's many others to co-sign this pain away.
I need someone to put this weight on.